Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to our weekly AI show. I'm your host for today, Pavel Dukovny. I'm a lead developer advocate at MongoDB, and I'm part of the AI squad here. Um, and as we always start, we'd like you to obviously write us some comments about where you're joining from, what brings you up here today, because we have a very interesting topic. But just drop a chat or something about where you're joining from. And hopefully, we'll get a really productive 1 hour in building structured uh, AI responses that will help us automate things in our application. And obviously, I'm going to be using Atlas. So we'll see some Atlas tricks and Atlas services tricks with triggers and maybe some additional flavors. So we'll kind of try to be creative today. So definitely, if you're joining us today, leave a comment. Um, hey there from Philadelphia. I see people from the East Coast are waking up this morning. So welcome everyone. Um, I'll be using OpenAI today. Um, I have to say that I've been using various LLMs and various AI providers lately. Once OpenAI was always my go-to. Now there's a bunch of very capable modules. But today we're going to be using OpenAI new structured output feature, which came in with the latest models of GPT 4.0. Um, so yeah, gonna wait another minute or two for other folks to join in, and then we'll get going. Gonna gonna present my screen. Let's do the entire screen. All right, all right. Here we are. Okay, I'm gonna even disappear for a few moments, just so it'll be easier for us uh, to see, and hopefully the screen is visible enough. Hey, Emmanuel. Hey, Rajesh. Hey, everyone. Cool. India, the other side of the world. Really nice to see people joining from many places. All right. So on this hand side, right of the screen, we will be using Atlas. Let's just open our data services tab, right? Let me also increase the screen. So I have one cluster, right? That I've deployed with Atlas. If you are not familiar on how to deploy Atlas clusters, then it's a really easy way of creating MongoDB in the cloud. Obviously, you can choose your cloud provider of choice, and then you get either a serverless, dedicated, or shared instance. And this is the database that we're gonna be using today. So let's go back. And this is my Atlas cluster, right? It's a simple M10 cluster. When I click the connect button, I have various methods to connect to my MongoDB Atlas instance. Um, but in this case, I'm gonna be using triggers, right? So triggers is a very nice feature that allows us to react upon changes in our database. We can define triggers through the triggers tab by clicking add triggers, but we can also create what we call an app services application and have triggers be bound to a specific app service. So I went and already created this gen data app, Okay, that's going to be a repository for our triggers. Um, and one thing that I've already done is I have placed my OpenAI API key within the values tab. So I created one secret. So when you click here, create a new value, you can choose between creating a value and creating a secret. And then you'll have to do a value that links to that secret, because this is the way we can actually retrieve um, the secret. And obviously working with OpenAI and OpenAI API, we will need to have the OpenAI API key available for us. Right. So this is the main things that I've um, already done. And I also coded a very small application for us to use today. And that's a posts and comments website, uh, which might be like a very naive example. But I wanted to keep that naive to kind of build a richer experience with our structured output rather than creating a very fancy application. So the application at the moment can create different posts, right? So hello from my stream is the title of my post, and the content will be welcome all to structured AI. Oop, no, got it. I want to relaunch structured AI. Yeah, submit the post. And here we go. We have that post created. Um, and my application just wrote that into, increase that as well, into my blogs and posts collection, right? So here is my data. Um, and I have just like a very, very easy to use data model. I have only the title and the content, and I also have a comments collection, but I don't have comments at the moment. So if we're going to go back and add a comment looking for it, right, and we add this comment, we will um, we'll get a comment here, and this comment will reference the post ID that it is um, located in. I'm not gonna spend a lot of times explaining how the application works, but I guess it's pretty trivial, right? Every time we hit a create new post, we will insert a post document. Every time we create a comment for a post, we insert a comment document um, referencing and attaching the post ID from that post that we are commenting on. All right, let's go to what is structured outputs in OpenAI. So hopefully OpenAI API is a little bit familiar with developers already, but if we look at OpenAI, right, we will usually have a client or a application side component that interacts with OpenAI. Uh, we can use a client, but in my case, since I'm using triggers, I'll be using the REST API. So I guess I don't think that this introduction article by OpenAI has an example, but we'll see in a second how this REST API looks like. Um, we need to remember that what structured output is doing is it is a kind of like a successor to the JSON format output, right? So we want to talk to AI and provide it with like a conversation, but we want to get our responses in a structured way, right? And before structured outputs, we needed to state that we want a JSON response, and we needed to carefully craft our prompt to allow us to get back a specific format. And it did create hallucinations. It did create some um, some issues for developers. So there was something called function calling, which added complexity, right? So we needed to now build functions that return data through AI via a certain way. So what OpenAI went and did is they've created this JSON schema output format that we can provide as our response format. So it's no longer response format as object, but it's actually response format as an object with a specific schema. So in this example, we have a calendar event, and we're using the Zod schema to declare that. But we can actually use just a JSON schema validation language uh, to specify the response format. And obviously, that makes it really, really structured because we can control what types we want back. Do we want to have additional specific fields or some additional fields? So it is really helpful when we want to get a very predictable output from OpenAI. Obviously, older modules than what they name here is like GPT-4o mini this and GPT-4 this will not work with this format. But I just got an email today that they are going to specify this as their default, right? Okay, so what can I do with this specific structured output in our application? So let's say that I want to actually create a moderation uh, operation, right? So here I wrote something nice, but maybe if somebody writes like bad comments or uh, abusive or something that is against my policy, I do want to use structured output to catch that by a trigger and then act upon it, right? Maybe I want to obfuscate this message. So we would like to define a trigger, right? Uh, and here I already played with a trigger, but we are going to create a new trigger. And with this trigger, we're going to name it. So let's say we're going to say moderate, let's say moderate comments. Okay, so I'm specifying the name of the trigger. I'm specifying that I want to do event ordering. And I want to watch on the collection level, right? Because we're going to monitor the collection, the comment input from the comment collection. I'm going to choose my cluster. I'm going to choose my blogs database. Did you choose it? Blogs. And my collection is comments. And let's say I want to, for now, only inserts is what I want to track. I want to get the full document, right? Because I want to know what was the comment about. So I like usually to use full document so I can get the full picture of the input. And finally, we need to choose a function. So we can write a new function, but I already have a function that moderates messages. Let's look how this function works. Let's do open function in a new tab. So function is basically a JavaScript code that I can use to act on the change event. So I obviously get a change event. I can immediately extract the document ID from the change event. And then I can actually act upon the change. So what do we want to do? So obviously we want to retrieve the OpenAPI key. So I'm using the context values get OpenAI API key to get my API key from my secrets. Then I'm gonna go to my OpenAI API, right? And here I'm using the REST API. So I'm pointing it to chat completions, and here I need to specify one of the modules that actually work with uh, with the structured output. So going here, this is the module, and I have a system message, right? Determine if the user input violates specific guidelines and explain if they do. And my user input, or that's like the input for the OpenAI, is full document dot content, right? So if we look at my application, comments has the content field with the value, right? So let's go back to my function. Right. This is where the magic happened, right? We want to specify a response format. So my response format is JSON schema, and the JSON schema has a name, which is called content compliance, and this is the main object. And in that object, we have different properties. So this top level called content compliance, and then we have um, the schema, which is an object, and it has is violating, which is a boolean, and we can write a description, so we can actually specify what this structure or what this field will be holding. So it indicates if the content is violating guidelines. Type of violation, right? If what kind of, like, it's violence, something sexual, something self-harm, right? We want to know if there's a violation, not otherwise. And then explanation if violating, right? Like explain why it is harming, why is it violated. And we can specify what fields are specifically required, and any additional properties is false. So we're really strict. We only want those outputs. As soon as we'll get that response back, we can actually go through the response format and get the moderation result. And then we can set that on the object. So for now, I'm only going to set it on the specific document of the comment, right? So we can then think about ways that we can actually automate stuff with it. So I'm gonna just hit save here because I did edit that function. You're gonna see the trigger. Let's see if the one thing that I want to verify is that it I didn't save the trigger yet. That's right. So I'm going to moderate messages, and I'm clicking save here. So now I'm going to also have a moderate comments trigger, and this trigger is disabled. This trigger is enabled. It hasn't run yet because we didn't insert a comment yet. Yeah, one thing that I want to verify is my database name and my collection name is actually coming from the change, right? So we're gonna just fetch the collection name from the change. That means that we can actually reuse that function for maybe many different namespaces. All right, let's go to our website and let's create a new comment. Sounds good. Okay, and we click the add comment. We added it. We can go back here. We can go to logs, and we can see that the trigger actually run. Okay, so this is our database trigger, moderate comments. And let's see what happened, right? Let's query that. All right, so we have this sounds good comment. Increase that. And let's now see what this moderation object that we set out of modern AI, right? So is violating is false. The category that it labeled is self-harm, because I guess that by default, that's like the area. And explanation if violating is null, because we don't really have anything bad here. All right, so let's actually input now something that is not really nice. Let's say I am going to use this advice to um, steal money from my company. Okay, let's add this comment. All right, let's go back to our database. Okay, so now is violating is true. It's self-harm. Content suggests an intention to engage in illegal activity, which is a long one. Include illegal repercussions and loss of employment. Right. So we already see that we have identified that this thing might violate uh, some guidelines or some um, harmful might have harmful information in this. Right. So what can we do now? Right. So maybe we can do something like let's go to our function. Maybe we can do something like um, if my moderation result dot what was the name of that is violating equals true, then let's do this. Else let's keep this. Let's keep the moderation anyway. Let's say we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna keep the moderation, but the content will now be moderation result dot um, explanation if violating. And the hidden content, right, will be our uh, full document dot content. Okay, so we still have the full document, which is the document before we act upon it, right? It was like the inserted document. And now we shuffle our fields a little bit. So let's do save. And let's go to our application. And now let's say, yeah, I'm going to use the same advice and steal money to make me rich. And now we're gonna add it. And right, we still see the comment now, but you see the moment that the trigger was actually um, fired, this this comment was replaced. Right. So the way the application is written is first I am pushing the same data that I wrote here um, into the comment section, and then I write it to the database. But anyone else who's viewing the application will see whatever is in the database. And this is how this content was replaced, because we automatically act upon seeing a harmful comment and replacing that. Now I didn't lose my actual comment, because now my content looks like that, right? So I have content, hidden content, and my moderation object. So I basically kept all of my history. I think that is really nice with MongoDB is you can reshape your documents, right? You can reshape them uh, and still be able to store everything within the same document. So if you want to have a tracking array, right, it's really easy to implement. All right, cool. Um, I like this one. Maybe we can take it one step further, but I would like to first maybe do something else. Um, So let's create a new post just so we have multiple posts. Let's say very, um, very boring stream. Why is it so long? Okay, let's submit that post. Okay, now I have my second post. Um, I do have a tab here that have multiple languages. And if I change it to French, we can see that my UI elements changed, but my comments are still English or was whatever source language that this thing was written in. So I wonder if I can use structured AI, right? Um, and then I can maybe um, have multiple fields in my response, which are actually showing different languages, right? So, for example, I'll have those three languages as the content, so it would be like a richer document. All right, let's see how we can do that. So we can first go to functions, and maybe let's use this moderate messages function and duplicate that. So as soon as we duplicate that function, we can go and change it. And let's say we're going to call it translate with AI. All right, and it's still private. I'm using a system function because I wanted to bypass privileges just for the ease of this um, for this demo, but sometimes you will want to use application authentication, which has specific permissions set on the application level, on the app services application level. But for triggers, usually I see a lot of customers and people using the system method, because this function is private. It cannot be accessed by anyone but the trigger. So it's basically doing only the logic that the trigger is allowed to do. All right, let's go back to the code. So we're still operating on blocks database. We'll still be operating on comments. Maybe we're gonna operate also on posts. So maybe we'll create two triggers. Um, we'll still need to go to our completion, to our chat completion API. I can still use GPT-4o, or maybe I can use the mini version to kind of like maybe trim down expenses a little bit. But obviously, our system message will not be the same, right? Our system message should be like translate the user uh, content into the following three languages. Okay, and we have English, French, and Hebrew. Okay, so those are the three languages. Um, we have the full document content, uh, which is the same because we want to act upon the content. Um, and maybe we can then think how we're gonna connect the two triggers. So if I'm who's gonna first, find something harmful, and then maybe somebody wants to translate that. But at the moment, we're not gonna raise condition those two triggers. So I'm gonna disable probably the moderation trigger. Okay, so the JSON schema that we have here is not that it's not that great. So we probably want to have a different schema. Obviously, for this one, it's not relevant anymore. Where is this document? Okay, let me copy that. Um, Maybe we can go to something like Claude. Um, See if I can go to Claude or somebody like Claude to help me, you know, um, edit that. You know what? Let's try to do it ourselves. Where was the function? Okay. Okay, so this thing is content compliance. No, this is translated um, translated content. Um, right. So yeah, translate the user content into 3 languages. Blah, 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 blah. And what will be our properties? Let's say one will be a language, lang, and will be a string, and it indicates language, um, indicates the name of the language, um, and yeah, it can be only a string. Oh, that's the category. No, I think we can basically just use something like content, and content will be string or null. Okay, it's that the translated um, string or the content required lang and content. Yeah, no additional fields. Strict true. Yeah, for now, let's do translation. Right, we don't even need that if. So it will be just, updating the document with translation. And here, translation. And translation object. All right. Hopefully, I've done anything that I need. Hello, everyone who's joining now. So we have built a function that will help us translate our documents with AI. We've specified the system message, which is I want 3 languages to for this document, for this content. Sorry, which is represented as a field document named content. And yeah, here I'm repeating myself a little bit for the JSON schema, and I have my properties, language, content. All right, let's see how this thing will work. Let's go to triggers now. Yeah, let's disable that trigger just so we will not interfere into anything. Let's do save. Let's go back to our triggers and let's build a new trigger. Right, so this trigger will be translate lang. It will be enabled. It will be MongoDB Atlas. Yeah, I'm gonna focus for now on the blogs and comments collection, just because it's easier. But then we can see how we can do the same uh, for the posts collection. All right, and now translate with AI. All right, great. So we have another trigger now enabled called translate with AI. And let's test it out. Let's go to English. Yeah. No, it's not. Okay. So I wrote a comment. Let's see what happened. Okay, so we have the no, it's not document, and we have this translation, right? So it only got me language English. All right, maybe we need to be more explicit. Let's go here. Let's go to functions. Let's go to translate with AI. All right, let's see. Translate the user content into all of the following 3 languages. Oh, maybe I know what happens. I need an array here, right? I don't need only an object. I need a top level. Yeah, I need a top level object schema. So a top level will be array, and the array will be a bunch of objects of languages, because at the moment you can only have one. Right, I'm gonna use AI to generate that object just because it's easier. So here I have my my Claude chat. Yeah, let's try to see if okay, response format. Yeah, let's get this one. I think it's up until here. All right. Okay. Yeah. Help me edit this JSON schema and have an array of language translations. Yeah. And nowadays it's really easy to make that change. Right? So I have now translations, and translations have, okay, great. Boom, boom, boom. That was fast. I even have a copy button. Yeah, let's replace that. Boom. Yeah, hopefully I'll replace the right thing. Save. All right. Let's write another comment. Yes, it is. Add a comment. Okay. Oops. No, 1 second. I wanted to load here. Was my database? Okay. Yes, it is. Translation. Okay. So I have translation, and now I have translations. Not the nicest, but I do have English, French, and Hebrew. Okay, cool. So now I have all three translations. All right, great. Let's edit the function a little bit to make it more friendlier. So yeah, maybe here, instead of updating this thing, I'll just update here translations. I'm going to use the translation direct response and not have like 2 levels. Right. So this is one way, or maybe we can do something like mapping those translations and having a per translation output. So for example, so what I mean is that instead of having content and a content, we can now have content with the translation, right? So we can have lang English and one translation, then lang French, another translation. So we can basically reshape the um, content element, right? So usually, I think the best way is to actually have the content to be an object, like English, and then the English phrase, and French, and the French translation. And this way, it's easier when when the application switches the different locales. Then we can basically find it better. So maybe we can reshape the translations that way before we update the document. So now we can basically do the um, new content. Say it's a const new content, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna probably uh, map those translations. Um, get a tr, which is one translation, and now we're gonna reshape the document. So maybe we'll have something like let translated doc, which is an empty doc. And now we can say, okay, so in tr.language, right? Equals tr.content. Content. Okay. Map tr. Yeah, it's gonna be probably. Oh no, that should be fine. Tr.content, and now I will store that translate document. Right. Did I write something wrongly? Let me just verify that. Yeah. Okay. Revise this code. Let's see if all right. Yeah. Okay. So it used reduce. Okay. Let's use that approach. Maybe that's better. Okay. So now we don't need to do those two operations. We use the reduce function to basically get the content. Okay. Let's let's save that. And let's now see how the new content is. Great to see you all. Add comment. Okay, let's go to our database. And let's do another find. Great to see you all. We didn't get a translation, so something probably failed. Let's go to our logs. Trigger. No, the translation worked. So that's not really explainable. Doc ID, translations, translated doc. Mhm. Fine. Okay, now it did. Maybe I clicked it too fast. Okay, so here we have all of our languages, right? We reshaped the document a little bit. And now we can actually access translations dot whatever content we have when we want to show the content on comments. Okay, so now we need to go um, to our basically comments, create a post element. Yeah, it is written in whoop, go away in plain JavaScript, right? So it's like a very simple application. So yeah, function to update single post comments, right? So here we are inserting a comment, and yeah, we just render comments. So let's go to render comments, and yeah, so we do posts.comments. Where do we get the comments? Comments.content. Okay. Yeah. So here is where we place the content, right? So we can actually go and choose translation current language as the content that we want to show. So let's say we do translations, and then in translations, we want to access the translation current language to show on the comment, right? So let's just see how the translations are defined. So we have and Hebrew, and in our, yeah, we have a little bit of discrepancy. So what I can do is, yeah, just change here my, yeah, my recommendation for the AI module. Okay, I'll do save here, and I'll do save here, and uh, we'll probably get an error now, right? Because our, yeah, because we can't really read the posts anymore. All right, let's delete our data set. So let's just delete and delete our posts. Okay. Comments. Okay, so this was deleted. This was deleted. Okay, cool. All right, let's refresh the application. All right, let's create a new one. New post. Hello. Submit posts. Okay, so we have a new post. Let's add a comment. Hello from MongoDB. Add a comment, and we don't see it yet. Okay, we still have this script 150. Okay. Script line 150. Update post comments, post ID. And okay, let's first see if we have the post written correctly. Okay, so the post is here, our comments is here, translation is here. So now we need to go to translations. Okay, and then the language. Okay, translation, comment. Okay, language translations. If I'm gonna just show translations here, right? I'm gonna do like plain JSON.stringify and show me all translations. Let's just see if we get that back. Okay. All right. So here we see all translations. So we do see that document. The only thing is now we need to actually access the correct translation. So um, oh, it's the key of the translation. So uh, do we change the current language? Yeah, we changed the current language. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see translations. That may be a little bit too ambiguous that I've used the same name. Uh, comment dot translations. Yeah, here. So yeah, so we actually need to use current language. Okay, let's save that. All right, and we see hello from MongoDB. If we move to Hebrew, we will see the Hebrew version. And if we go to French, we'll see the French version. Great. This is exactly what we wanted to show on the application level. Great. I think we get a really, really nice milestone. Um, but we can also use the same function to operate on the posts collection. All right, let's do that. Let's go to triggers. Let's add a trigger. And now this trigger will be translate posts, right? And every time we're gonna listen to the posts collection. So we're gonna choose where is my blogs database, blogs, and my posts collection. And I want to insert for now only on inserts. I want the full document. And I want to use the same translate with AI function, right? And the magic here is because my collection that I edit has the same field name content for the um, for the post as well. We don't translate the title though, but we can translate the content of the post, right? And we choose the namespace that we use as this collection from the change event, which in this case will be triggered by posts collection, right? So let's save that. All right, and now we can go here and we can create a new post called my post 2 and say, um, hello, I am building AI apps for fun. And I'm still in French, but here, so hello, I'm building AI apps for fun. And if we go to the database and go to the post collection, right, we can see that we got the translation for my post as well. So now what's left for us, right, is to go to the place where we have our render render posts. Render posts. Is there a place that is called render posts? Update posts, comments, render comments, create post element. Okay, so here we use posts comment content, but we can actually now use translations current language, right? And now when we cannot read property of undefined English. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm back. Some technical difficulties or some Wi-Fi problems probably. Um, so yeah, let me just finish that, and we can maybe even call it a session. So I was just about uh, to fix my data set. So I did have one post without the languages, which a little bit broke, like it broke my application a little bit. So now when we refresh that, yeah, I can see that I have um, my post, and now when I flip to French, I can see that the post was also flipped. All right, so maybe I'm sharing the wrong thing. Let me see. Present, share screen, entire screen. Okay, maybe I shared the wrong thing. Okay. All right, yeah. So now, as you can see, my content is changing language, which were automatically translated with AI as soon as I input that. So it was like one call to the AI, we got the translations. And now the nice thing is, if I'm going to comment in any language, right? If I'm going to comment in any language, oh, see something broke again. Let me see, where is my database? Boop, boop, boop. Okay, so comments. Okay, so I have my content, and now I have the translations in all the languages, right? Again, even though I wrote it in a different language, it understands that I need to take that and still do the three language tricks. Um, why did I ended up hitting this error? Property undefined of English. Okay, maybe it wasn't fast enough, right? So I refreshed just before um, it actually created that section. So maybe we can think about a better client side way to handle this things. Um, but yeah, now when I change it, even though I created the comment in one language, I have it in all three. Um, cool. So hopefully that was useful and beneficial for people. Try out the structured output with Atlas triggers. Um, I encourage you to create triggers either from the triggers tab or from the application side. We just saw how easy it is. I always encourage people to get onto our community at MongoDB and join our community. Talk to us, elaborate on your ideas, discuss on different topics. We have very neat um, articles and content on our developer platform, so developer.mongodb.com, Developer Hub, uh, and definitely go and try out Atlas. It's really easy and fun to develop with MongoDB Atlas. Um, it's a fun experience. As you saw, we were able to do this prototype in um, pretty much 20 to 30 minutes and go over a few different features that we can automate. Um, so thank you all for joining, and I'll see you next time.